to welcome everyone to the Rocking Plexus team meeting. I have somehow managed to hide myself from the viewing of this meeting, and I can't bring myself back. So if you're wondering who the random voice is, my name is Tasha Miller, and I run the Rocking Plexus team page. And we are here tonight with our upline, Tammy Brown-Scott. And Tammy is in our upline. She is above, or it goes from Tammy down to Jamie Dodson Brown, down to Julie Felpel, down to myself, and then down to all of you. And so if you wanted to know where her leveling is. And Tammy is an Emerald Ambassador with Plexus and has a wonderful wealth of knowledge to share with us. Tammy, how long have you been with Plexus? I don't think I can answer this question.
I'm going on my fourth year.
Awesome. Very cool. Well, we thank you for being here, and I know we're very excited to hear what you have to say, and I know all the people who were unable to be here live are definitely looking forward to seeing this recording when we're done. So I'll let you take over. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, well, I'm super excited to be with y'all tonight. I absolutely adore Tasha. Super excited to just have this time to just kind of unpack a little bit, share my story, give you a few things that I've learned along the way. But like Tasha said, I'm going on my fourth year with Plexus. And it was funny when I started kind of sharing my story, I was a little bit hesitant because I didn't really have this big, powerful health issue comeback story. I came into this fairly healthy, but not completely knowledgeable. And my sister Mandy is actually who shared Plexus with me. And just to give you a little bit of her history, I know y'all had her on last month, right, Tasha?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm sure she shared all her health issues and her son's health issues. But because of that, she was constantly looking and researching supplements and ways to do life better in order to help their health issues. And so when she came across Plexus, I was super excited for her. You know, she shared it with me. I knew if she believed in it, that it was a good thing because she takes health and wellness very seriously. So I was excited for her. And when she started sharing it with me, I was like, that's all great and good. I'm glad that you have found something that works for you, but I'm good. I don't need any supplements. I was running marathons and half marathons. I was eating healthy, not clean or completely organic, but healthy. And I had no health issues. I was on no prescription medication. Of course, as women, we always think everyone thinks they could lose 5 to 10 pounds at some given point in our lives, right? But that really wasn't even an issue for me. I was, in my 40s, and I was happy with what running and eating healthy looked like for me. What I had absolutely no idea about was gut health. I had no idea. And even though I didn't have any really crazy symptoms, I was having that 2 to 3 o'clock afternoon crash, going for that Monster energy drink or that second or third cup of coffee, because I needed something as a mom of 3 to get me through the second part of my day, right? The day doesn't end for us at 5 o'clock, right, moms? So I needed something to get me through the second part of my day. So I was looking for some type of caffeine boost to get me through that. But again, I didn't even really register on my radar as unhealthy, right? So anyway, Mandy and I continued to talk. I researched, looked into it a little bit, and I started taking Plexus. And I think probably the first things that I noticed was that sustained energy for my day. I was no longer needing that Monster energy drink to get me through the second part of my day. I was sleeping better at night, which I didn't even realize I wasn't getting a good night's sleep, right? So, and I'm sure some of that kind of, the cycle of just having that sustained energy for my day probably came from a little bit of a better night's sleep, but I definitely felt the sustained energy for my day and getting a good night's sleep. And then just with my running and working out, I felt like I was recovering better from that. So it impacted that I was getting more out of my workouts and my runs, which was a win, right? So for me, that's kind of my personal, even though I did not understand gut health and how that impacted me, I've learned so much from that since then. Of course, I've introduced it to my family, and we've seen some results there as well. My middle daughter, Hannah, has had eczema since she was little bitty. And I would take her to the pediatrician, and they would give me a steroid cream, and we'd rub it on those hot spots, and it would get better, but it would never, ever completely go away, right? She hits her teenage years, and now we've got facial acne on top of that. And again, take her to the dermatologist. They want to put her on prescription medication. They want to, we want to do topical steroids and things. And so beginning to understand gut health and realizing what the root cause of those problems were, putting her on the triplex, on the Slim, the Probio 5, and the BioCleanse has radically changed her skin issues. Her eczema is gone, and her facial acne is 90% better. She still has to, have good hygiene. She's a teenager, so there is some hormonal issue. There's still some of that comes into play. But for the most part, we have seen such great improvement there. So just that has been such just an understanding for me of educating myself and my family on gut health and how that truly impacts others. And I know I'm kind of preaching to the choir here in that sense, because I know y'all get it. But for me, it was just such a wake-up call, thinking I understood health and wellness, but not understanding gut health. And how many people do we run into when we're trying to share Plexus that have that same experience, right? This is kind of off the beaten path a little bit, but I have to share this with y'all on that same note. I'm working with, again, Hannah is happy to have some work done. She has an ingrown toenail. Yeah, more information than you asked for. But I was talking to the nurse, and we have to put her on an antibiotic before she can have the procedure done to take care of the ingrown toenail. And we've been down this road a couple times with Hannah. So I'm telling the nurse, I'm talking to a nurse, and I say, I want an antibiotic that's going to take care of the infection, but I want the least harsh. And I don't know enough about antibiotics to ask you what that is, but I don't want her to have to deal with, the yeast infection that's going to come from it, the facial acne that's going to come from it, because that antibiotic is going to wreck her gut. She was like, okay, well, let me put you on hold, and I'll go talk to the doctor and see what she suggests. She comes back, and she was like, okay, well, we can try such and such antibiotic, and that will hopefully help her with her stomach issues. And I'm like, and make sure she takes it with food and takes it with yogurt, and this will help it not upset her stomach. And I'm like, mind blown. I'm talking to a nurse, and she totally missed the point. I wasn't talking about an upset stomach. I was talking about gut health, right? And she could not even have that conversation with me. And that's a nurse, right? So that kind of puts it in perspective when we're trying to share this opportunity and these products with friends and family, that so many people have to be educated about gut health. And that is kind of, the exciting part of sharing this opportunity and these products with people, because it's so much bigger than just, understanding gut health, and helping people understand that is crazy. So anyway, I just thought that just happened yesterday, and I was just mind blown over that, right? So really, that's kind of my journey into this. I'll tell you kind of from the financial side. We came into this, we have 3 teenage daughters. We've homeschooled them the majority of their school career. And so with that, we were committed to a single income. My husband is a great provider, and I stayed home with the girls. And that's kind of what we've been committed to the whole, the majority of raising our daughters. And God has always provided what we've needed. We've never gone without. But as we kind of started coming into these high school years where we now have teenage drivers, right? So more vehicles, more gas, more car insurance. And college is right around the corner. I felt like this was an opportunity that God was giving us to be able to earn some extra income and provide for those things, and allowing me still to be home with our girls. So, being an Emerald Ambassador has been a blessing in that sense. And God has given us this opportunity. And it's something I never thought I would be doing. I never, ever thought I would be in network marketing. Plexus is the first network marketing company that I have been a part of. But what I love is that God gave me something that was already in my wheelhouse. It's health and wellness. And it's something that I already believed in and could get behind, and have learned so much more about that has benefited myself, my family, And so for that, I'm super thankful for. Not that there's anything wrong with the other companies, but I'm just thankful that the opportunity God gave me was more than just, Tupperware or lipstick. Nothing wrong with those things, but I've just really enjoyed being a part of this for that. Let's see, what else? Here's something I want to share with y'all. When I was talking to Tasha about just, any little nuggets that I could share with y'all, things that I have learned. This is what I would say to y'all as far as just, I feel like within the last couple of weeks, that this has really been important to me to kind of get my head around. And I think coming out of the last couple of months with the hurricanes back-to-back, the flooding in Houston, the shootings in Las Vegas, it just has been so overwhelming that it has made me feel a little bit distracted and hard to focus on just the daily task that I typically do. And I have seen that it has affected just my daily activity with my business, and whether it's related to that or not, I just have felt distracted. And so I was talking to a couple of people on my team the other day, and something just kind of hit me a thought hit me in a way that I hadn't thought about before. But as ambassadors, we share with our customers and our ambassadors how important it is to be consistent with our products in order to get the most out of them, right? We tell them consistency is key. If you want to get the most out of these products, you have to be consistent daily, taking your products in order to get the most out of them. We stress that, right? We believe that. Well, why don't we use that same principle with our business? In order for us to be successful with our business, we have to be consistent. We have to apply that same discipline in taking the products and wanting to get the most out of them to our business activity. Consistency is key. If we kind of come at this inconsistently, I post on Facebook every single day for a week, and then I go MIA for 2 weeks, or I sit down and I message, okay, I'm going to message 3 new people every single day, and I do that for 2 days, and then I go silent, radio silent for a couple weeks. That inconsistency affects our business activity. And I know that we're going to have those moments of just feeling like we're going through the motions, but even those moments are so important. So my challenge to y'all is to come up with whatever your IPA, your income producing activity, looks like. Be consistent with that. Find something that works for you. Find a designated time. I'm going to give it 30 minutes in the morning. I'm going to give it 45 minutes before I go to bed at night, whatever that is, and really challenge yourself to be consistent with it. And I would encourage you, I have found it super, super helpful to have some accountability with that. Share that with somebody. Share that with Tasha. Find a running partner or find an accountability partner on your team and say, I'm committed to these goals. And that can be daily goals, and that can be big goals. And then and then you're checking in and sharing with that person, how is it going? You said you were going to contact 3 new people every single day this week. Were you able to do that? And maybe that's just in a text, or maybe that's in a phone call, whatever works best for you. But that accountability makes a big difference. It's the same thing with exercise. If you have an exercise partner, an accountability partner, or a running partner, I have found that true, right? If I know someone is waiting outside for me to run that morning run, I'm not going to sleep in. I'm going to get up and be out there because I know they're waiting on me. So having that accountability is super important. But I think that's the biggest thing, the biggest challenge I can give y'all is come up with a plan, a daily activity plan, and be committed to it. This opportunity is for everyone, and this opportunity works. It is like no other. And so I just would love to see everybody super successful at it. And it's just a matter of how hard you're willing to work. And when I say hard, I don't mean like I'm going to work 9 to 9 every day. Hard meaning disciplined, right? Being committed to that, because just like with taking our products, if you're consistent with your business activity, you will get the most out of this financial opportunity. And I've said that, that's kind of what I've challenged myself with, is just to be consistent with what that looks like. And I actually created, I'm sitting in my study, so y'all can't see it, but over here to the left on my desk, I just have started a visual board, and I post what my goals are for the day, for the month, because I'm kind of one of those people that I love to cross things off my list. Like, I make a list because I like to cross things off. And so I have a couple like scriptures, and I have a couple motivational things. And then I have my goals, and that keeps me accountable to myself, right? And I have a coach that I speak with, and he holds me accountable to those goals. But I see that every single day. So every single day I come in here and I say, all right, I'm supposed to be contacting, or I need to follow up with, or I need to reach out to, or I need to post on Facebook. And if it's up there on my visual board, I'm going to do it, because it's like crossing it off the list. So I encourage you to have some type of strategy, and the visual board might not work for you. Just kind of, it works for me because I'm a visual person, but I encourage you to do that and be consistent with your business activity. It will make a difference in your business.
Yeah, and I have to agree and piggyback on what Tammy said, because she, I saw on her team page this early summer, she had posted she was going to do coaching calls. And so I jumped in on that. I said, yes, Tammy, I want to do coaching calls with you. Let's do it. And so we started that, and it started with just a month once a month, it was a quick phone call. And I mean, I was like, I can't do this. I have the kids with me 24/7 during the summer. I'm working. This is like, how are we going to work this out? But I committed to it and did it. And having her as an accountability partner in that, just that quick phone call every few weeks, I had someone that I had to answer to. Not that she was going to get on to me or get upset with me in any way. I knew she was going to be saying, hey, Tasha, did you do those last time we talked? We said you were going to work on this, this, and this. How did that go? Tell me about it. And so even if it was a couple days before she was calling, I was like, oh gosh, I told Tammy I was going to get this done. Like, holy cow, get it done. So it was, for me, it was great. And I had the best summer I've ever had with Plexus this past round. And I think a lot of it had to do with that accountability and having someone to answer to. I think it's really hard. That self-discipline is hard. When you're dependent on yourself, it's so easy to be like, well, I did really want to read that new book. That Netflix series looks really enticing. Or do you know what? I just don't feel like doing it right now. It's so easy to drop it one day and then the next day and the next day. And then before you know it, you've let 3 days go by and you've done nothing for your Plexus business. And so I highly encourage that, because I experienced that firsthand with Tammy, just having someone, and it was just a phone call. And I would be more than happy to do that with all of you guys. So if you don't have anyone that you are accountable with, please reach out to me. I would love to do that, because I know it was extremely beneficial for me. But I just had to add that in.
Yeah, that's good. And like when Tasha and I did it, and that's the same thing I do with my Plexus, it's just 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. And we are super strict to that 30 minutes. And that's not necessarily because it's just, then that way we're going to start at this time and at this time, and you can schedule life around that a little bit, so it's 30 minutes. And then, the other thing I would say is just being committed to just that personal growth, like tuning into this kind of stuff. Like, thumbs up to y'all for being here tonight, because this kind of stuff makes it is a game changer. If there's an event, if there's a power hour, a Zoom call, a team meeting, something that you can participate in, because it helps. This is a time that we can sharpen and encourage each other. If you've got trouble, if you've got things you need to talk through, troubleshoot, a follow-up that someone asked that you're not quite sure how to respond to, those kind of things, it's a great time to come together and sharpen each other and help each other with our business. So I encourage you to participate. And again, y'all are here, so I'm speaking to those who already know that, but this kind of stuff is super important. Watching the Diamond documentaries and just kind of building your belief in these products and this financial opportunity, is going to help encourage you to stay consistent with the business activity. Do y'all have any questions?
Let me unmute everyone. I don't know if Debbie's on. We'll leave her alone for now.
Yeah, we can't see her, but her name's there.
All right. Come on, guys. I know you're burning with something.
Okay, I have a question. When you do your coaching calls, do you think it's easier to, or more effective to do it with someone who is not your friend? Like my sponsor is one of my best friends, so it's easy to get sidetracked. You know what I mean? Do you suggest maybe not your best friend being your coach, or not necessarily even that? Like even like my level ones or whatever. I don't want them to feel like they can or can't say something to me, or because of the friendship part of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a great question. I mean, honestly, I think if you define it as a coaching call, like I want to have a coaching call with you so we can set goals and you can hold me accountable, and it's a 30-minute call, you know? Now, maybe you spend that 30 minutes talking about your goals and then you stay on a bit longer and talk about life, you know? But as long as you both have an understanding of this is a business call. Like I need you to help me plan out some goals. I want to be gold. I want to be senior gold, but in 3 months, how are we going to get there? What is it going to look like? What do I need to do in a month at a glance? And what do I need to do a week at a glance? And what do I need to do day at a glance? Right. And so just defining that time is probably super helpful. I mean, I would just encourage you to try that. It might be that you find it's not productive. And so maybe you need to reach out to the person above that person, you know, and just send them a message and say, hey, I really need some accountability with my goals. Would you do a coaching call with me? So I don't know. It's a good question. It really just depends on y'all's dynamic, and can y'all define that 30 minutes, you know? I mean, because I've done that before. I've had a couple of coaching calls with my downline friends, and we spend time, we talk business for 30 minutes, but then we stay on maybe another 15 to 20, and we talk about life and kids and, you know, what we're doing that weekend. So, but as long as we both know that's kind of what the call is going to be about, and that's communicated and it's respected on both ends, I think it can work. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I may also just kind of put in, if you have, like Melissa, like you're talking about, y'all already talk so much about plexus. And I know that with that friendship that there's so much plexus talk as there is. And so there may not be a ton of new ideas between the two of you because y'all have already been talking through so much of it. So it might be
like throwing in, we have never I have never reached out to her and said I want a coaching call. So that's why before I even ask, I want to know, you know what I mean, like a plan.
And it may be beneficial to get another point of view, and that's again why I went to Tammy because she even said, well, I don't know how to coach you. And I said, let's just talk. Let's just talk. Swap ideas. I want to hear from someone new. And so it worked really well for us because she said things that I hadn't heard before. And it was just a different take on things that I wasn't technically doing. And I got a ton of benefit from that.
Yeah. And I will also say, totally sidetracking, but that Hawaii Hustler Group one is amazing because it is people I've never heard of. And yes. I really love that. So it's completely, I mean, not that I've never heard of, I've heard of BB, of course, but most of those jewels, I don't know them at all. So it's been really great. Anyway, because of that reason, different perspectives and maybe they're saying the same thing, but in a different way or in a different voice even might make a difference.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, that's good feedback, Tasha. That's just having a different perspective, a different, if y'all are typically having conversation about plexus, then you reach out to somebody who you don't typically have that with, and you will get maybe some new ideas or a different take on something. And I'm super excited to hear that you're enjoying that Hawaii Hustlers group. I haven't really heard any, I've heard feedback, but it's been more from the jewels. I haven't heard, how it's coming across.
I'm just
That's awesome.
I like it. Yeah.
Well, I will say something. Let me unmute myself. Oh, I'm unmuted. Okay. Okay. Just, when hearing y'all talk about this and coaching, that goes right back to your teaching background. A child can be taught math by one teacher and doesn't get it, and the next one comes in and basically is saying the same thing, but now they get it. And I've heard so many of y'all, geez, I don't have any idea how many of these I've watched. And every time it's going over the same stuff, but I leave with, well, that person was more like my personality, so I get it. Yeah. And so I like that.
Yes. Yeah, that's so true. And how it's said, I know, like, I typically am not I'm not a green personality. I don't know if y'all are familiar with the personality colors. Like, I am red and yellow. And so I don't need to know the details. I don't need to know all the facts. I don't need to know all the ingredients. So if someone is speaking from that perspective, that's my sister. My sister is green and blue, right? So we're complete opposites. So she will get on and talk, and it's completely different. And it doesn't necessarily always speak to me in that sense, but yet at the same time, I just want to know, how am I going to feel better, as far as gut health goes. I don't need to know all the medical terms. And, but yeah, so I completely agree with you. And I think it's good to recognize that, because then that kind of helps you as you're building your team to be able to speak into others and how people need to hear it. And that's why, doing something like, I applaud Tasha for doing this, because you're bringing in your upline, but you're also bringing in different personalities, and that's a big deal. It really helps.
Yeah, I'm super yellow.
Yeah.
A little bit of green, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Yellow, green, and then blue. There's no red. I don't know. I need to find some red. My husband is red.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Jamie, do you have anything?
No, this is the first one I've been able to make.
Oh, yeah, I'm so glad you're here. So I wanted to hear your voice.
That's awesome.
Oh.
Do y'all feel like do you feel like, as far as having that daily just your IPAs, do you feel like you're good with that, or do y'all feel like I'm struggling to find a routine? I'm struggling to even define, I have given my team multiple IPA sheets, and I tell them, because again, sometimes they're all organized a little bit differently. Some people need that sheet and they want to methodically work off every piece. And then some people just kind of use it as, a guideline. Like, I'm going to take this and make it work for me in my day. Do y'all feel like you have a good routine for business activity each day?
I don't.
Yeah.
I think I'm still struggling with that.
Right.
I spend a lot of time, and I feel I go toing, 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 I'm trying to do this and that, but then I see this and I'm doing something else. And so I guess I do need to reach out to Tasha, and I probably need some coaching.
Let's do it. I'm writing this down, Carol, you're stuck.
I did the power. I've done a couple with the Plexus Power Hours, and the sheet that they send out, I liked that one. It's probably the same. I don't know however many are out there, but maybe it's adjusted differently.
Okay.
Have you seen that one? It's
yes.
Yeah, I don't know why I like the way it's set up. Maybe.
Right.
So I've used that a couple of times, but I'm not I will do my IP every day, but it's not at 8 consistently or 10. It's just it gets done.
Right.
And see, for me, the actual sheets, just for a different perspective, the actual sheets do not do well for me, because I think I have to go copy them. I need to put them in a binder, and I need to do this. And I get too caught up on that kind of thing. And so for me, it just doesn't work. Once I run out of papers, then I'm it's oh, there it all went. But for me, I use my Plexus planner from last year, which we're all going to be working to get for this month. And what I do is I am not good with keeping a planner at all. I like the calendar at the beginning of it, but these day-to-day to-dos, like I said, I have zero read. But so like what I do is I just write in my week's IPA. So like Mondays, these are who the people I talk to. These are the people who want a trial pack. This is a follow-up. And so I can see just in here, I just write down who I talk to during the day. It's kind of like my Plexus journal instead of my Plexus planner. And so every
diary.
Right here, it's like my diary. And I can write different things. It's just, and that way, if I need to look back on it, be like, okay, when did that person sign? I think it was September, and I can go back and look. And so for me, that's what works best, something I can easily get my hands on. You could do it in a spiral. It doesn't have to be a planner, but it's just whatever works for you. So don't feel like you have to have a fancy sheet or anything. It's just a matter of being consistent. I think documenting is extremely important because the more your business starts to grow, the more you're going to forget. People are going to start falling through the cracks. You're going to be forgetting, oh gosh, were they on triplex? Did they want X Factor? Wait, were they a trial pack? Did I give them one yet? I mean, it just all starts to get muddled. So documenting it is, it's really been beneficial for me.
My phone is my lifeline for that. I have like, I don't know, 10,000 notes in my phone. Because it's like, but I put them in folders, like it's my way to organize, but I'm like all over the phone.
Nice.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I mean, just kind of share what I do. Like I have an IPA sheet, but that's just kind of like, again, my visual. Like I don't necessarily work off that IPA sheet. So I have an IPA sheet that I just kind of keep for me to kind of stay organized with, and then I just work out of a spiral, you know, and as I go through it on a daily basis, and then I can go back to it and for like the follow-up. I agree with Tasha. Follow-up is so important. It's important that when you're speaking to those customers and those ambassadors, you're speaking directly to their, you know, that you're not just, it's not just the generic, it's a very specific, you can address their health issues, you can address their products that they ordered. Super important. I agree with that. But yeah, so I don't necessarily like Xerox I don't have copies of those IPAs either. And some people do that and make notebooks of that. I just kind of keep it as, that's what kind of keeps me focused on what I need to work on. And if you haven't, like, I mean, obviously the basics for your daily activity is posting on Facebook. And I know for myself, I feel like I get to a point where I'm white noise with people, you know, that my sphere of influence has seen me post about Plexus for going on 4 years now, and they just don't see it anymore, but they do. I am still, you know, so posting on Facebook every single day is super important. And then just if you've not made a contact list or a Frank's list, just thinking of people that you can reach out to and messaging those people, 3 new people a day, and then following up with those people, that kind of stuff is super important.
But guys, we are down to our less than a minute little reminder came up. So I just want to thank Tammy for being on tonight. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us. I know IPA is a thing I struggle with as well. It's just, you've got to make yourself do it. That's just the only way that you're going to be consistent and advance in this business. So thank you for that tip. I really appreciate it. I know I needed to hear it again too, because I have been distracted lately with all the world news. But thank you, and thank you everyone for getting on live tonight. I think getting on live and having this opportunity to chat is very important, and so I appreciate you making the time. Jamie, I'm so glad you made it tonight, and I look forward to seeing you on some more. But you guys have a blessed night. Pray for everybody, everything that's going on, and we'll see you guys later. Carol, I'm getting you on a coaching call. All right, guys. Y'all have a great night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.